the proverbial chip on the shoulder. When it comes to sports talk, it's viewed in a positive light. Everyone likes that player with the chip on the shoulder, something extra to prove, extra motivation. But like with anything else, there's got to be a balance. If that chip becomes too big, too large, too heavy, it can weigh down that player. Klay Thompson, after the 2-year absence from injuries, came back with a chip on the shoulder, and we all understood it. But seemingly that chip has grown and grown and grown, and now I sit here today and ask you, has that chip grown too large? Now is it just extra weight that he has to carry? When you listen to Klay talk after this season wrapped up, there was a lot of right? I want to be an all-star again. I want to prove people that I'm the same player. Not enough we when it comes to Klay Thompson. But when you really think about it, that's who he's always been. That's who Klay's always been. And within the Warriors ecosystem, it's really served him well, and you think about all the clutch situations where he's shown up in and shots he's made. You're like, I can't believe he took that. I can't believe he made that. Well, it's never a we situation. You think we are down 3-1. We are ice cold. We are tired. Not Klay. Klay operates in I. Have you ever given a bad Father's Day gift? I know I have. I know I've gotten a few too, right? But shopping for dad is tough, man. How many novelty coffee mugs can you give him, right? And so that's where Ridge Wallet comes in. They sent me the wallet along with the key case about a month ago. I chose the gunmetal here. And honestly, there's no break-in time. It's slick from day one. And it's one of those things you don't really appreciate until you have it. And then you're like, dude, why would I ever use a different type of wallet? This is too slick. You can fit 12 cards into it, plus cash. It's got an RFTD coding on it, so you can't get scanned. You know what I mean? And then the key case keeps your keys in place. It can fit up to 6 keys. But what I love most about it is just the slim profile of both of these products. It really doesn't matter what type of clothing I'm in, gym shorts, slacks. I can keep both of these things in my pockets comfortably and no one can notice. So if you want to find the best Father's Day gift, click my link in the description, Ridge Wallet Alchemy, head to the website and get up to 40% off until June 15th. Have you guys seen the new Conor McGregor documentary on Netflix? I highly recommend it, and it gives you good insight into his mindset and approach as a fighter. And MMA is something that I've been around enough. I trained it in my 20s, and I was around it enough to realize, hey, there ain't no money in it, right? And unless there's the select few. But I've been a big fan of the fight game for a long time. And what you've come to realize is there's really 2 different types of mindsets when it comes to the fight game, right? And you have the athlete who, I'll use like Daniel Cormier as an example, an Olympic level athlete. And his approach is, hey, this is sport. You may be better at this and this. I'm better at this. Let's try this as competition and see who wins. Then you have a fighter like Conor McGregor, where it's an all or nothing thing. And you'll hear these guys build themselves up. It's life or death to me. It's all or nothing. And part of what goes along with that fighter mindset is an infinite confidence that they have to build going into a fight. There can't be any doubt. I am absolutely better than you. I will destroy you. And that's Conor's approach, right? Because he's a fighter. And Conor's a great athlete, but his mindset is to approach is a fight. He's a fighter. Klay Thompson on the basketball court is a fighter, right? It's an all or nothing situation with him. And that's why you've seen such crazy 37 points in a corner, 60 points on 11 dribbles. It's all or nothing. It's he's a mercenary. He's an assassin. We know this. And so when you listen to Kerr in his exit interview talking about Klay needs to get in better shape and, being pretty modest in his comments, I'm sure behind closed doors, these were much more serious and detailed conversations. But one thing that caught a lot of people's ear was Kerr saying, Klay will always start. He's always going to start. And that's because of his psyche, right? Klay Thompson on the basketball court, again, he's a fighter. It's an all or nothing situation. It's very important that he maintains that infinite confidence because that's who he is as a player. And Kerr understands that that's how Klay is wired, right? Now, I say all that to say, in thinking about Klay's role moving forward, I don't think you can ask him to play differently. You just have to ask him to play less. That's now starting, finishing. Starting is, again, I just explained why that's important to his psyche. But I don't think you can say, hey, Klay, you'll play 28, 30 minutes, but we want, 6 or 7 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists, maybe get up 5 or 6 shots. That's just never going to be who he is, right? And so, again, it's going to have to just be in less spurts, less minutes. And, is there a possibility we've talked about we need a stretch 4? We need a stretch 4. Can he get some of those minutes as a stretch 4? Again, don't play. He doesn't have to play different, maybe defend a little bit different. But offensively, I don't think you can ask him to dial it back is my main point here, right? And so I know I just got done basically calling Klay a super selfish player because he is. But again, it's also what's made him great. And I think that that's very important that we understand that. There's no half-stepping. How do you score 37 points in a quarter? Right? It's an I type of thing. It ain't no we in that, right? And so, hey, I love him for it, but we have to understand, he's at this crossroads right now. And again, I just called him selfish, but I think in a lot of ways, it's really worked for the Warriors when you talk about the combination of the core players and how it fits together, the puzzle pieces. I think the real question is, how selfish is he going to be in these contract negotiations? We know he wants an extension. His agency or, his handler said, oh, we're looking for a max, and listen, and whenever, people take offense whenever you talk about someone's pockets, but when, as fans and, when you're talking about this much money, it's important. We've got to talk about it. Right. And so what did he make? 40 mil last year on that max deal? Asking anybody to take a $20 million haircut is crazy, right? To cut your salary in half. It's crazy. At the same time, contextually, at a certain point with these athletes that are worth $500 million, it's ego money, I think, just as much as it's not going to change their lifestyle, right? I'm going to venture out and say that doesn't change the size of Klay's boat, right? But it's an ego thing. And I think that's a big deal when you get to that level of, you think Klay wants to make less than Poole? It's that type of stuff. And so, I know that everybody's focused on the Bob Myers negotiation right now, rightfully so. I think they're going to get that done. I was talking with the patrons, I think, last week. I think Bob's going to come back. That's my gut on it because I think he would have said no by now. But, I'm just, who knows? I don't know anything. But yeah, so the ego contract, does it really change his lifestyle? Is he willing to do that? But my point is that I think that the Klay negotiations could break down. I think they could go south quickly, because they could be very far apart. He's made 40 per. I'm guessing the Warriors are probably going to say, hey, 20 per, right? And so again, the ego hit. It's not necessarily the financials. I know, people are saying, oh, you can't ask Steph. Steph's worth so much. Absolutely. They've raised the value of the franchise tenfold, right? We all understand how much money is being made, but also understand that I think the core is making a lot of money being a part of it as well in other ventures, right? Everyone's getting to eat. But if this does go south, you have Klay in a true contract year, if they don't get an extension done, with an even bigger chip on his shoulder and even more of an I mentality. And that could be a problem. That could be a problem. And so, as we look at this core 3 aging, I know myself, I think most of us were like, well, if one of these guys is going to leave Golden State, it's going to be Draymond, right? His game's probably not going to age as well. All the off-court stuff, and then his personality, there's a burnout factor, I think. And it was like, all right, well, Draymond will probably be the one to leave, and it'll be the Splash Brothers that play their entire career in Golden State. Well, you look at things now in this crossroad to where Klay is in his career and the potential gap between he and the front office as far as what he is worth as well as role. It might just be Klay that is the first to depart here for this dynasty, which sucks, man. Klay's my favorite player. But yeah, as far as his role, it's just got to be less. I don't think you can ask him to play differently. And I it's Everyone has their own agenda, goals, and egos. But, what I would say to Klay is this I talk of all-star and proving to people that you're a top 75 player and you've still got it. I think the winning speaks the loudest. So if you can, it's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what happened. I know a lot of people upset with the way he shot as the playoffs went on, right? It was the entirety of the season. And that should be the lesson that Klay takes away from this season is, hey, I've got to pace myself better as I age. I can still do the same things, but I got to make sure I can do them when it matters most, like I used to. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Klay, because I know, after Jordan Poole, I think Klay, well, that's not true. Draymond's always going to be a hot topic, right? But I just know that a lot of the fan base was frustrated with Klay and even swearing him off. They don't do that. Don't do that. He's done too much for this team. He's done too much for you, right? So he's earned the right to have a shitty playoffs. When you consider everything, the question is, how does he respond? And so let me know in the comments how you're feeling about Klay right now, and big picture, how do you think he should move into this next phase of his career, whether it's with the Warriors or not? It's always sticky to talk about pockets, but what would you say? Like 4 years, 100, 20 mil per? I don't see him taking that, but I think it would be fair. I guess the market hasn't really been set yet this off season. Anyway, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.